Well, good afternoon, and after a fantastic session there from Martin Cross, delighted to be joining you until the end of the day. And first up, it's the Remenham Challenge Cup between the University of Washington, USA, on the left-hand side of your screen against Rowing Australia on the right-hand side of your screen. Hi, Adrian, great to be with you, and what a start for the Australians.
Good evening, Camilla. It's great to have you back. Yeah, really good. This is going to be a really hot competitive race. Washington come over with their full 8, and they decided to commit to doing the Remenham instead of dropping a few of the other athletes out so they could do the Ireland Challenge Cup. And they've been in Italy for a week on training camp. But they've come here to try and compete in a really high-class event, and they've come across the Australians straight away. Actually, that's kind of what they've come here for, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hugely competent 8 from the University of Washington, but you know, they're going up against international Olympic caliber competition of the likes of Rowing Australia. And as we jump to the live pictures there, they're holding them true, they're holding them honest here. And Washington's 8 in the island earlier unfortunately lost their race against Yale, and the luck of the draw has it with this one that it looks like it's going to be a stiff one.
But this is, you know, the Windermere Cup. The British 8 was invited over to race them, and the British 8 only just beat them by a canvas. Here, the Australian 8 is having to work really hard to beat them, and yet they were 5th at the IRAs. The quality of the rowing in the US women's is unbelievable, and here this Australian 8 is not having an easy time of beating the US. Well, you know, it's a university student 8, but the amount of the talent they can recruit, they're from all over the world, and they are world-class athletes.
Absolutely world-class athletes, and I'm sure, you know, aspiring to the heights of competition of the likes of the athletes that litter this Rowing Australia crew. Some names to know: Annabelle McIntyre in the 5 seat. She sits so tall. She's the one without the cap on there. No, my apologies, the one in front of the one without the cap on. Olympic gold medalist from Tokyo, from the Olympic Games, and now moving into this 8 project where they've come straight from Poznan, which was the World Cup that took place in Poland a few weeks ago, and they'll be quite tired after racing on the international circuit and coming straight to Henley.
Yeah, and they're here, and they'll be racing next weekend in Lucerne. So this is a real sort of, they've come over from Oz to get some good world-class experience. And here, they're starting to show their class now as they row away. But even like you were saying, these are student athletes in the other crew. But sort of, for example, in the 4 seat of the Australian crew, with the one without the hat there, right on the left-hand side of the screen, she's got an MBA in public health, and she's a registered nurse. So she's had full-time education and moved on to taking a bit of time to do full-time rowing. It's a good-looking 8 here, actually. They are rowing a really nice rhythm.
Yeah, a really nice rhythm, and that's being set by Katrina Werry in the stroke seat. And you know what, for an international 8, they are really having to work hard to stay ahead of the University of Washington, who continue to try and hold that distance. The boat speeds are actually fairly similar at this point in time. It was just the Aussies that got that great start.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we'll see now with the Washington crew how much they can sustain this pace, or how they're having to overwork to keep in touch. But the great thing is they've come here to have world-class competition. They're in the top women's 8, which is usually full of international 8s, and they've not been shy of just facing up to that.
Yeah, the Washington 8 having to step up to race the Remenham because of some of their previous results. Great to see Holly Dunford in the 4 seat, the former Molesey Boat Club rower, who's studying at the University of Washington, an under-23 medalist over in Sarasota, USA, back in 2019. She's been studying in the States ever since, but I know certainly she's got aspirations to row for the British team.
Yeah, and some of these athletes, because of COVID and stuff and everything that went on, quite a few of the women rowing in American universities have made the choice to row for the university this year at Henley because of the Ireland Challenge Cup and the prestige of it, instead of missing this to do under-23 selection. And it's so good all these American universities have come over to really show that the caliber of this event is here to stay.
And what great shots here of the Australian 8. This is the elite level competition for women's 8s here in the Remenham Challenge Cup. The Australians have been here time and time again to contest this event. They've faced multiple international crews in former years in the Remenham, but this time it's a university crew they're having to go up against, and well, they've been worked quite hard.
They certainly have. And Talia von Heppels, the Cox, so first Henley, her first Australian senior team. What a great season she's having.
Yeah, straight from Poznan, straight into another successful race here down the track. and the crew from Rowing Australia. Get a lot of hollers from the bank. I know the crowd love to see the international crews here. Fantastic to have them back here in the Remenham Challenge Cup, but a wonderful race put together there by the University of Washington in this tough event. And there is the confirmation of that result for the Australians.